So the lesson, this is the example of when I trialled the lesson structure of warm up, launch, explore and summary with my own grade, which is a grade 1-2. And it focused on informal measurement. I asked the students in pairs to measure the perimeter of one of their tables. They could use straws, icy pole sticks and handspans. We briefly clarified the meaning of perimeter and handspan. We noticed since our tables were rectangular, it would be possible to find the length and width and then double it. One girl asked, can we estimate? I said, of course you can estimate. I was really pleasing to think all those lessons that I had done previously, they were able to bring to the table. They wanted to estimate. They were told that they could present their findings however they liked, but on one piece of paper per pair. While exploring, one set of partners argued about whether to go all the way around the table or to just measure the length and width and double it. So even though they were having a little bit of an argument, I was really pleased that they were both engaged on the task and, both thinking about the best way to do it. The children's results included a table being produced where the item or units were down in one column with the estimate and the actual. Other children used tally marks to count as they went along. Some children wrote sentences. Some children realised very quickly that my hand span is not the same size as your hand span. One pair wrote centimetres for everything, whether they used straws or icy pole sticks or their hand spans. They wrote this many centimetres, centimetres, centimetres. They'd obviously heard of centimetres. Maybe they were trying to impress me, used centimetres. At the end, and actually one pair didn't actually write anything on their piece of paper. So I learnt I have to be very explicit about my expectation that I would expect something on the paper at the end. That was a learning curve as well. At the end, our discussion led to a reminder of that rulers have centimetres on them, so how big is a centimetre anyway? And during this summary discussion, all of the class were so engrossed because they'd all been engaged during the activity. So I was really pleased how the lesson went. And they agreed that hand spans vary and so the most accurate form of measurement. I strategically chose particular children to share. As more staff use and trial this format, the lesson structure that Sullivan and Gunningham have recommended, I think we'll be developing the thinking skills of the children, which is really important. Now I'll hand you back to Alan.
Thank you, Loretta. We'll just quickly finish it off. Okay, we've started now with our early years numeracy online testing, which we're all doing. We're doing the VCA on-demand testing, which we will continue to do, I think, because it does give us some really good solid data for cohorts of students. We're using the ACOTS Melbourne University stuff, which is also some strong data, so we've got a variety of data, plus our school-based assessment. Oops, we'll go back one, sorry. As a result of all this, the staff now have a greater understanding of individual students' needs and of cohort student needs, so that when they're sitting down doing their planning or when there are PLTs, they can actually talk about the students in an authoritative way rather than in an ad hoc way. Their planning now becomes more explicit, where they can share it. As I said, individual and group needs are catered for, and the data that is gathered is shared amongst the whole school. Because we have this notion at our school of collective efficacy. We all are working with the students, not just a particular teacher. Just because the teacher's in grade 6 is not the domain of the grade 6 teacher, it's the domain of everyone who's had that child and everyone who's working in that school at the time. We feel that we're making some solid progress, and this is probably indicated in the latest NAPLAN data that's come out, and our 5-year trend shows that we have made probably some significant improvements in the areas. If you look at the red line, that's our improvement from 2008 to 2009, and we feel that that's a pretty impressive improvement. But we still have a lot of work to do. We're not saying that we're there. It's evolutionary and it's ongoing, and next year it'll be particularly challenging when we start working a lot closer with the Marylands. And I'd like to publicly thank Loretta and Kent for their hard work. We're a small school. We've only got 7 effective full-time teachers. Both have worked very diligently and very hard, along with all the other staff, to drive the improvement for these students. So thank you.
Can I just reflect a little bit on what you've seen? One of the things that came through to me really strongly in that is the policy dimension of what they're doing. Like, it was the whole of the school. You know, it was the principal being involved. It was having strategies that we're doing that seemed to be really the commitment that came through in the three presentations, but you can see as part of the plan is important. It's clearly sustained. They've been doing it over the year, and it's actually delightful to see the results improving, you know, which is sort of connected. The issue that it's planned, you know, the whole thing is planned, not only the lessons, but the whole. It seems to be comprehensive. They're doing a number of different things, but tying them together. But even though it's comprehensive, it's also focused in what to do. Then, the individual learning plans, I think, is something too. And in fact, I had meant to say this at the start. As one of the things that I think is connected to improvement is working out the kids that need help and trying to find a way to give it to them. You know, is another sort of thing for the students. Perhaps the most powerful thing, though, is the commitment to learning from each other. And I noticed Alan's sort of comment about sort of being in school. My wife's a secondary maths teacher. I've probably told you that before. And she actually worked in a school where they had a large proportion of hearing impaired kids, and so that they had aids all the time. And so she was used to teaching like every lesson with sometimes 2 aids in the class. And she said, you never thought about it. But then she moved to a situation where they were having this peer thing, and she said she was really nervous. Which sort of did, you know, in a sense it didn't make sense because you still just got another adult. But it highlights how that developing that culture where you're not evaluating each other, you're trying to work out a culture of improvement. And those strategies for observation, I think, are really important. And the other thing that came through, I think, with that is the obvious care for individual kids and thinking about the growth of the kids. And so it was really nice to see, you know, such a sort of comprehensive and planned initiative. And so congratulations to Ruthven on that. So thank you.